Okay. Item number 3, public comment. Is there any public comment? Public comment going twice. Oh, sorry.
Hi, my name is Rosamoa Galterio. I originally made a big hoops thing, but I just wanted to come to you to thank the assessor's office in Dana Flock for settling a 13-year bloodbath with the assessor's office. They were highly professional. They had taken care of what we needed to do to come to an agreement. Everyone is happy. Thank you for making it all happen. And I just wanted to give credit when credit is due. It's so nice to be able to now, if I have a question, being just a secretary, to say, hey, Tara, I have a problem. And she could guide me. This is what we've been looking for 13 years, plus years. It's almost 14. It has been nothing but a disaster. I am so happy right now that we have a path to communication, because without communication, you can't get anywhere. And I just wanted to thank you and Tara and all the hours that they put into it, because it was a lot of confusion. That has been solved. We have a system now. They asked us to do certain things. We provide it, and there's no questions. There's no problems. But I just wanted to let you know, thank you, because it's been long overdue.
Good.
Thanks.
Thanks.
That's what it's all about.
That's right. Teamwork makes the dream work. Is there any other public comment? No further public comment. Can I have a motion to approve the minutes from the March 21st, 2023 regular meeting?
Make a motion to approve the minutes for March
Second.
21st.
Motion by Trish, second by Al. Discussion? No discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Motion carries 6-0. Thank you. Presentation from Seymour Police Chief John Buccarati. Chief handed out his strategic plan. Hi, Chief.
Hi. So thank you for the opportunity to present the department's strategic plan. I think we've made significant progress in the last year and a half. A lot has changed at the police department in that last year and a half. This strategic plan that you have there consists of a lot of different projects. It is a living document. I change it as we go. And I'm going to hit on some of the things that are in there is in a short-term planning sense and a long-term planning sense. And I broke it down in a short-term planning sense of things less than 2 years. That's currently what we're working on. It's not going to go in any particular order either. So if you have any questions, please, feel free to stop me, interrupt me, and ask questions. First thing is staffing. Right now, there are no vacancies for police officers, and we have 1 officer on light duty. This is in contrast to last year at this time. We had 5 vacancies and 3 officers out on injury. We're doing well with our recruiting and staffing. We are at full capacity. We have implemented acting supervisors to cover the open positions that we currently have. As you're probably aware, we have an injunction that's currently preventing the process from moving forward. We are hoping for a resolution in the next few months with this, but it's due to a court backlog where we don't. The policy, I've redone the department duty manual in the last year and a half. That has been put to bed. We no longer refer to that anymore. The manual has been replaced by an electronic online document management system. It's called Power DMS. Policies are updated and published in a timely manner, and the documents are available to everybody electronically. We also keep track of who signs for, who reads for, and who's accountable for those documents. So, in case they screw up, I mean, honestly, we can go back and see that, no, you did read the policy on this date and time. It's a lot better than a manual read and sign book. We can also keep track of plans for parades, events, and other important procedures and things for future officers, and people who are planning these things. Policy and procedure revision is an ongoing, and it reflects new practices and trends in law enforcement. So supervisor training. One of the keys to success in modern police department is knowledgeable and competent first-line supervisors. Training the first-line supervisors in leadership and management is a top priority for us. We have a lot of officers who act in an officer in charge capacity, and they receive first-line supervision training at a minimum. I've been sending people to more advanced leadership and management courses that are available for sergeants, commanders, inspectors, and the deputy chiefs. A lot of classes put on by the FBI. Our budget revisions, I kind of work on my budget year-round. I'm still kind of learning the ins and outs with here as to what we're spending and what we're not spending. Being here a year now, I got a better grasp on what we do spend and what we can save on. I've come forward with some savings, and I've come forward with some, in this year's budget, some, I think, increases that we may need to just get us at a, nothing's, I didn't put together a wish list. It was just kind of what necessary to move us forward and keep us moving forward. One of the projects that we're working on now is payroll and electronic scheduling. We recently changed to an online scheduling application. We're getting away from paper scheduling, and all transactions, vacation, time off, comp time, it's all going to be done via computer, as is the payroll. We are also working with the outside private duty billing, incorporating this into VCS so we do not have to chase companies for payment. The company will bill the outside vendor, we get our payment every week, and that will be current. So, go ahead.
What's VCS again?
VCS is Visual Computer Solutions. It's our online scheduling software.
All right.
So it's accessible by phone, by computer. Officers can see how much time they have left. It's just really a payroll.
Okay.
So what is the backlog now for your outside vendors?
Right now, I want to say we are about 130.
90? In 90.
I'm sorry.
In 90 days.
90 days. I don't know off the top of my head. I'd have to look at it, but it is a significant number. Usually it's EverSource, the bigger utilities,
And the reason why I asked this is because before you took over as chief, we were almost $400,000 over 90 in back pay that we're chasing.
If we do notice a vendor that doesn't pay us, we go after them. We tell them that they can't work in town. We cut them off, and we usually get a check overnight when that happens because they don't want to lose money. We don't want to lose money. That's usually what happens. So longer term planning.
Hold on a minute.
I remember a time where, and I don't mean to interrupt you, but I'm sidebar, scheduling, vacation, off-duty time, all that kind of thing, and you're saying now it's going to go to a computerized system.
Yes.
I sat down with your department when I was on the railroad with railroad people and talked about scheduling, and it was a very hot topic at the time, union-wise, management-wise, problematic with what was going on. How does going to a computer system for scheduling and all of that help? Because going to a computer system is going to be more cost-effective, right? It's going to cost more?
Well, we do pay a fee.
Okay, so you do pay a fee,
Yep.
but what are we saving from that situation, the current situation, or previous situation, going to a computerized scheduling and...
Well, most modern police departments do a computerized system for scheduling. We're really outgrown the days of paper and Excel spreadsheets to keep track of payroll. So we're really just keeping up with the times. And as far as like with the union, we have our union president sitting in the room here, and they've been involved in the process. We're not excluding the union. This isn't I say the way it goes.
Right.
No, this is,
Right.
I don't operate that way. So we've had many discussions with the union, going to this private duty payroll system, and everybody seems to be on board with it.
The plus side, going from the current system to this computerized system, is just for payroll, or is it for...
So it's going to be in two stages. Payroll first for the town. So our hours that we work, we put in our hours into the computer system. It allows us to see the schedule, who's working, how we fill overtime. All of that will be computerized and automated.
Okay.
So it actually takes a lot of work away from the commander or the sergeant who has to manually make phone calls and fill all these jobs,
Right.
they'll get a notification on their phone that they have something.
Okay, so and then the bad people that look at your budget and stuff will be able to see this kind of thing really fast and say, this is what you're doing, it's almost in real time compared to a paper trail that we see afterwards.
You can run overtime reports, staffing reports, any kind. There's a million different reports in there you can run.
All right, thanks.
It's very transparent.
Cool.
Kim, oh, sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm going to ask the proverbial hated question, but since you have the software now and you're fully staffed, is that going to help with the overtime? Or like, can you just review that again on
Overtime,
how
so
the
sure.
overtime works and why it's
Last year,
taking place?
we run a contractual 5-person minimum per shift. So regardless of, we have to staff it to 5 people. So if people take personal leave, vacation days, anything like that, and they drop below a 5-person minimum, that shift now becomes an overtime day. So yes, in a sense, by being at full staff, we won't see the numbers we saw last year, but we still have people with contractual time off, paid holidays, comp time. No, comp time won't cause any overtime. That's one of the stipulations of the comp time agreement. So any vacation days, personal leave days, sick time, people calling sick, if it's just below that 5-person minimum, we still have to fill it. So you will still see overtime. You probably won't see as much this April, May, and June. April, May, and June are our worst months. And that's where people go on vacation and,
That'll be
spring-
important to keep highlighting because this is where people, question if we're fully staffed, then this, so it's just.
You're always going to have overtime.
Yep.
And in any department, I think we do pretty well managing it right now. There's always room for improvement, but, with the addition of a paid holiday, for instance, that's 30 more patrol officers that get a day off. And the holiday, Juneteenth, comes in June, where it's the height of vacation time. So now you see where it compounds that problem where we have more time off. So you still will see overtime, hopefully not as much.
So, but this will help,
This will help keep track of it. It will help the town in a sense where once we transition to private duty, the officers that work, that we pay up front, you'll get that money that week. There's going to be it's going to be one agenda item removed from the Board of Finance is private duty invoices that are outstanding. So it'll take time to transition to it and to get it right. We're working with the software company because we're unique in the way we staff our overtime and the fact that we have two different hours lists. So
Okay,
we have to have them coded.
thank you.
Chief, my question was about the policy rewrite stuff.
Yes.
And how you put it into electronic format.
Yes.
And I'm assuming every officer has to review that on an annual basis or
Yes,
some
it's-
periodic basis.
So the high risk, if I come out with a different revision of the policy, it will go out to everybody. They will get a notification that there's
Automatic.
there's another policy to review. In the beginning, when we transitioned, it was mostly done by email notifications. Hey, you have to read this, and we've had the supervisors have the guys log in, make sure that they're reading their policies, and make sure they're up to date on it.
And then do you have, do you monitor who takes that, does that allow you to monitor?
I can see who read them, who
Right.
didn't read them,
Okay.
and who still has to.
So you
read
can
them.
create a dashboard of percentage of
Yes.
people that, okay, good.
So most of our high risk, low frequency or high risk, high frequency policies, we really kind of hit and make them follow up on domestic violence, use of force.
Right, and there'll be some periodic
Yeah.
time.
And when those are updated by post, I'll usually create the updates and send them out.
Thanks.
Any other questions? I'm just going to go real quick. I don't want to keep you too long with the long-term planning. This is, I
Phil,
kind
can you
of
put your
grouped this
microphone on?
more than
I have
2
no
years,
battery.
less than 10 years. We have accreditation. The Police Accountability Bill of 2020, we established criteria calling for all law
Battery.
enforcement agencies in Connecticut to achieve accreditation by 2025. We are scheduled to meet that goal. We're scheduled to meet that goal earlier. It's a lot of policy rewrites. We're hoping to actually meet the full Tier 3 accreditation in December of this year. So we'll be hopefully fully 2 years ahead of schedule when that comes. Long-term staffing overpopulation. We currently have 41 full-time officers with 5 part-time officers. That's one officer per 402 residents, 2.39 officers per 1,000 residents. It's right in line with where we should be. I don't see a need to increase at this time.
What was the total again?
We have 41 full-time.
So Chief, I have a quick question for you. I was going to ask you. So in your progress report, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, the fifth bullet down, study on population.
Yep.
More.
That's kind of one of those things that I kind of do all the time. You know, I just wanted to see what the population trends are.
Sure.
And see what the IACP, the International Association of Chiefs of Police, and other agencies recommend for staffing,
Yep.
and kind of go along those guidelines.
So you're talking about 2.5 officers
It's
per
just a
1,000?
percentage, 2.5%, yeah, 2.5 officers per 1,000.
Oh, okay, so that's a percentage of the population.
Yes,
So we have about 16,000 people.
yes.
Okay.
So for
Yep,
our facilities,
16,558.
overall, the condition of the police building is satisfactory. Listen, I'd love a new police department, I'm not here to ask for one. There's no danger of us outgrowing that space right now. As I said, with staffing, we're good.
I just sent him a text message.
We've kind of cleaned out some things that were in the department that were just laying around, old things, you know, we didn't need anymore, we got rid of, we replaced some furniture. So our building is okay, we're working with the building department for any HVAC systems or any, you know, the building facilities are, you know, facilities is aware of all of our problems, and we're kind of working for that to fix everything. One big area that changed with the law is information technology and body and dash cams. That's constantly changing. Our body cameras and dash cameras are required by the Police Accountability Act. They are fully in operation right now. We are compliant with that law,
100%?
100%. Psychologicals, drug testing, we are fully compliant with the Accountability Act. All of the policies have been updated to reflect all the changes, and everybody's been trained on it. That's pretty much my overview. And then, you know, no plan wouldn't be, it really wouldn't be complete without some statistics, and let me just find some, what I look at, and I gave this to my board at the end of the year, just to change from 2021 to 2022 and what we are dealing with. Some of the most notable things that we do, DUI. In 2021, we had 109. In 2022, we arrested 62 people. We're on pace for this year. You know, I think we have about 30 or 40 this year, so that's one of the things that we do. Simple assaults. We have a lot of domestic violence incidents that we respond to. So correspondingly, we have an officer assigned as a domestic violence liaison, and that's one of the continual trainings that we do, and that's a policy that I continually update. Traffic crashes, we had 358 in 2021, and we had 385 in 2022. As you're all aware, we had one fatal accident last night. We're probably on a trend to keep around that 380 number. It's just we have a lot of vehicles that drive through town. You'd be surprised at some of the traffic studies that we do. Officer Skowski, he puts out that traffic counter, and we sometimes in a week span in a small, quiet street, we'll count 8,000 to 9,000 cars. So we do have a lot of traffic that comes through town, which is why we have the accidents we do. Just some other things, we have larcenies. That could be larcenies from vehicles. Those may remain consistent, 54 to 56 in 2021 and 22. And for larger crimes, I mean robbery, we only had 2 each year. We did have a murder in 2022 that was a murder-suicide. So, and that's really it. If you have any questions, concerns, you know where to reach me. And if you have any questions tonight, I'll take care of your questions.
And Chief, what sets our police department aside from any other police department in the valley?
I think we have a really good working relationship between myself and the officers. I think we have a good cohesive unit there. We send our officers to a lot of training, and one of my philosophies is to develop, not just give them the mandated training that they need. Every 3 years you have to go through this training. I want officers to go to school for what they're interested in. For example, we had 4 officers recently trained to be traffic crash reconstructions, just because, they were interested in that field, and it's a career development for them. What I want is officers to come here and make Seymour a career. and not go to other departments, not lateral out, take their pension, go home because there's no opportunity for that. So I've been very responsive to what people like to go. We've trained people for crisis negotiation, traffic crash reconstruction, FTO, DUI class. So I think we're kind of ahead of the curve in getting people the training that they want and deserve.
Do we have any officers that speak different languages?
We do. We have
Hold on,
one
because
officer.
Seymour's changing.
They are, and our demographics are changing. We have officers that speak Spanish. We have one officer that speaks Farsi. He's from the Middle East. We have one officer who knows sign language very well. So we're pretty diverse in that regard.
Thank you.
Thank you for being open.
You're very welcome.
Oh, Selectman Standing has a question.
Thank you. Could you talk to us about your vehicles?
What would you like to know about my
How many
vehicles?
vehicles do you have? What's your replacement policy?
We have 22 vehicles. What I'd like to see is 2 vehicles per year replaced. We put on a lot of mileage on our cars. Our frontline cars run 24/7. That's just, the nature of it. So even though their odometers might not be that high, the engine hours are. And we have officers, these vehicles are also being used on road jobs where they're making the town money. So when we take them out and they sit idle at a construction site all day, that's a revenue source for the town. We charge extra for a vehicle, but it puts wear and tear on it. We have vehicles that we kind of put to the back, spare vehicles that we use for those road jobs. Our frontline vehicles are in better shape than those spare vehicles. And I'd like to see 2 new patrol vehicles come in every year. That's what I'd love in an optimal world. I get it that it's not always going to happen, but just to keep the fleet current and keep the patrol vehicles are the officer's office for the day. So they don't have a desk. They don't have anything to come in and sit down. They work in that car. They sit in that car 6-7 hours a day. So I think it's beneficial to give them a good environment and to do their job.
Are you moving away from the vehicles that you've had in the past, the Ford vehicles to GM models?
So-
You have a GM vehicle.
We are buying some more Tahoes, and it's really based on availability.
Okay.
There's a lot of problems ordering cars, and if we don't get on top of ordering cars, we're at the bottom of the list. So we have to plan to order these cars early just because of supply chain. As fast as they come on the lot, some other police department snatches them up.
And I understand that you did dispose of some vehicles that just were not
We
being
did.
used.
We had a lot. How many did we have sitting around? We had a lot of vehicles sitting around that weren't used, so we used them as trade-ins. So we were able to get new vehicles.
Thank you.
May I?
Oh, yes.
Could it be possible, I understand that some of the vehicles go onto like traffic assignments and stuff like that, and, construction and stuff like that. What about the idea of a number of vehicles you need? I understand first respond vehicles have to be gas, but what about the idea of taking a look at maybe going into a couple of electric vehicles? Just because, I understand that that they have to stay running. But on those non-essential assignments, where you could dispatch a couple vehicles for doing traffic, and the electric vehicle might be something thinking outside of the box. That's one question. I have another one to follow up.
Sure. So
What do you think about that? It's something to look into, maybe?
I'm not entirely opposed. There are some vehicles there are some police departments that are exploring electric vehicles.
Right.
Tesla had a demonstration vehicle. I tried one out when I was in Fairfield. Westport has a
cool,
Tesla. Right? Yeah, they're cool. I don't know that they are ready for
Prime time?
prime time yet. And
Okay.
I don't think the range is there. I don't think the time is there. Introducing electric vehicles, you introduce a lot of other infrastructure with it, the charging stations, who can work on them.
Right.
It's a whole different thing with the fire department. With what if one of these things catches fire because it's used so long? It's a
I
whole.
understand.
There's a lot of
Okay.
other effects that come with those.
So
is
the
there
answer
any-
is you did look at, I mean, you have some, you
Yeah,
have some.
every police publication, they look at electric vehicles and see benefits versus the risks of using
Right,
them. And they haven't been adopted 100%.
Right. Is there any sustainability credits that we can get from a town perspective? And then you can put them on more, you don't have to put them on the regular road duty, maybe just put them on when somebody goes out to do cone duty or something like that. So you pick your battle when they're used. I don't know.
I'm not aware of any.
Yeah.
It's something I'd have to research.
Because there could be sustainability credits that you can get from a town perspective. I
Something for you to look at, but then I look at, what if there was an incident where the police officer had to take off and chase somebody with that car?
Good point.
Yeah, I agree. I don't-
It does introduce a whole different, because they operate. They handle differently. There's a different acceleration, deceleration with them. So now you have added training costs. How, and how are you going to operate these, with emergency vehicle operation? It's different than a gas vehicle. It handles differently.
No, I understand, but the original question was about non-first responding vehicle to the other work that you do. And I don't, do we respond from a construction site to an emergency call with cars at time? Okay, so that's a yes.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, that's fine. I'm not asking to solve all the problems of the world with that question, but it's something that we could look into.
Sure.
Right? I mean, you could.
Listen, as technology evolves, I
Right.
mean, it's definitely
Right.
worth a look into. I've never dismissed anything just haphazardly, but.
May I ask one more question?
The floor is yours.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
You're welcome, sir.
I understand that we were talking about officers have a preference for going to additional training and the like, and I think that's very cool. What do you, if you could say, just off the top of your head, for conversation only, what's the number one complaint that comes into your office? Like, somebody calls up and says, hey, my neighbor's too loud, or, because I know what I think the number one.
Traffic.
Okay, so it's traffic.
Yeah.
How much effort, I mean, I've seen an upgrade in speeding stops. I don't believe that just, you guys are behind the 8 ball, just say, okay, I'm gonna make stops for speeding. Speeding's a situation in Seymour. I mean, sit on my front porch and smoke a cigar with me, and you would be like, and I've been doing it for 40-something, 50 years, right? So how can we say, look, let's say that that's a situation that we would like to address or get more deeper into for everybody's sake. How do we do that? Do we go to the police commissioners, find a plan? Do we come to you and say, hey, how do we handle this? More effort needs to go into it.
So-
I don't know what, go ahead.
What I've done since I've been there is on our webpage, I've made a area where people can submit traffic concerns, and I'll get a ticket, like a DPW request.
Okay.
Someone has a pothole in the road, they could submit concerns for speeding or traffic enforcement there. I'm pretty responsive. If I get an email, a phone call, I'll give it out to the shift. John does our traffic studies, so I get a lot of emails from residents, hey, there's a lot of speeding on my street, or there's something. I'll have him go out for a week, collect the statistics, and it gives me different times where I have to put officers out for enforcement. I'm not
Put your
gonna,
resources where the.
exactly where the problem is.
Right.
I'm not
I get
gonna deploy resources where the average speed is 26 miles an hour over, and it's a 25 mile an hour zone.
I get it. I understand that.
So, I do a lot of back and forth with residents over that, and if First Selectwoman sees something on Facebook or somebody does, I'll get a text and, hey, look, there's a problem here, and we'll address it.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
No problem.
Any other questions for the chief?
I just had a follow-up regarding building maintenance.
Sure.
So is that the complete list? The security fence, the security cameras, the parking lot?
Yeah, we have the fence in. We're looking to upgrade some of our cameras. We did our parking lot reconfiguration, and I think there was some HVAC updating that needed to be done.
So that's it?
Pretty much.
Oh, that's good news.
Yeah. As things break, we'll fix them. I'll put more on the list, or I'll take them off,
No need, no need.
Let's add to it. That's all, I was just curious if that was a complete list. And the one other piece, if I may, it's number 2A. It says hiring to get to full strength.
Yep.
So
We're there.
You're already there, right?
Yeah.
So you're not getting to anything?
We're good.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you, Chief.
Thank you for all your hard work. You guys are awesome.
Thanks.
Okay. Item number 6, discussion and take possible action regarding the Seymour Fire Department tax abatement program policy and eligibility requirements. Chief Edwards.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for having us back. I handed out a packet tonight. You should have on your desk in front of you. The one that was in your packet was the one from last month. So we went and made the changes that was recommended by the board. And we are here to see what you think to have it adopted. The town attorney did look into the ordinance. It was in there from last month. He has the hard copy. He's been provided with the hard copy along with you folks, I believe.
If I may, Madam First Selectwoman, at the last meeting, we could not, because the ordinance had not been codified as of that meeting, we couldn't produce a copy of it to answer certain concerns. The ordinance that was adopted in the amendments contemplates the Board of Fire Commissioners adopting a policy. So the policy, that was the discussion, should the policy be made part of the ordinance? It should not, based upon the ordinance that this board adopted. All right? And the ordinance is in your agenda packet, so you can see that. You must act on the policy, however. You're free to ratify it or reject it. Last month's policy that was in the packet called for 150 points for 65, 25, and the 150 points qualified for all retired 25-year members to get a deferral, if you will, or abatement on their taxes. The policy that you all have now that the chief handed out requires certain activities that still must be maintained by the retired members. And they're set forth, it's set forth in section D in green ink on the first page. They have to attend meetings and sit on 2 company committees and participate in 2 company functions. So it's not an automatic thing. There has to be something more in order to qualify. So that's all I have to report. Once we found the ordinance, it all clicked into place.
Thank you. Go ahead.
You guys want me to go over what was added or
Yes,
what?
please.
So,
I do want to say that this has been going on since 2020.
correct. I did inherit this kind of when I got appointed in July.
Since 2020.
So when the board took over in July, we put it right on our radar to get it done, along with a couple other things that has come before you guys. So everything stays the same. The member must reside in the town of Seymour, must have a minimum of 25 years of active service and the age of 65. Admin 3, which just that's our qualifications to stay an active member of the Seymour Fire Department. So the member at the time will have to be an active member in good standings with the Seymour Fire Department with SOG Admin 3. The candidate must attend 5 company meetings per calendar year, sit on 2 company committees, and participate in 2 company functions. So we did that because once they go retired, there's nothing for them to do for the Seymour Fire Department anymore. They're taking this because they can't do the job anymore, but we felt that they could still be involved in one of the 2 companies in town. So we want to give them something to do to earn the points still. And then once the member has decided that their time has come, they're at the age of 65 or got to 25, we broke it down on how they're going to apply. So they'll put a letter in writing, give it to their company captain. Their company captain will go through all their stats to make sure they're eligible. Then it will get forward it over to the Board of Chiefs. We'll forward it to the Board of Commissioners, because they're the ones that handle the tax abatements per the charter. So they will sign off, and then at that commissioners meeting, it will be granted. They will go as a retired member status, be awarded their 150 points every year until they either move out of town or unwilling pass away. That's pretty much it. And the only other thing that's in there, I believe was in the other one too, is there's, once a member does retire, there's no coming back, there's no mixing. So he can't say, hey, guess what? You know, like, I found the fountain of youth, you can't come back. Once you're retired, you're retired.
Let me know when they find it.
I'll let you know. I'm looking. I am looking. I do want to thank the committee that worked on this. I did not work on this personally. I had a lot of other things going on, but my assistant chief Oskowski and his committee really put a lot of work in this since July to get all this straightened out, and in the last couple of weeks to get this language in there. Like I said, we kind of inherited this in the middle of commissioners leaving and other chiefs leaving, so we got old ordinance, old stuff, and they worked really hard on putting this together for the older members. And I would say there's probably a good 10 members waiting for this that have done their time, have been line officers, some have been chiefs in this department, waiting for this to go through so they can, you know, start to lay back a little bit and let the younger kids take over. So, but I appreciate it. If there's any questions, I can ask, or if I can't, John can ask them.
May I? Well, I was going to ask, what would be the estimate number of retired members, 65 or over, and 25 years of service?
Right now, we probably got about 15 that are eligible for this 65-25.
Okay, so 15, and it wouldn't go more than 15 consecutive years down the road, would it? So next year, you're not going to have another 15? What's that? Okay.
Yeah, I'm not real sure, Selectman Willoughby, to be honest with you on the number. It is very possible,
But we're in
so I'm
the-
going to say unlikely that I would have that many.
Right.
Yeah.
So it would be 15 now, that once we implement it, maybe 15, and then going down the line, a few here and there. The reason why I'm asking is, we start off with the word retired, and then you make everybody, you make them 5 meetings a year, 2 boards, 5 functions,
Yep. They-
some functions every year. Now, why is that? I mean,
Because
if I'm retired, I want to be retired.
They are retired from the Seymour Fire Department. So in order to stay eligible, they still have to, the company level.
This is the requirement then.
For the Seymour Fire Department, the drills and, the committees and stuff is just let them stay active within their companies. So and correct me if I'm wrong, if we just said you're retired, you can't do anything, here's your 150 points, they would have to leave the company still. We don't want to do that to them. The company aspect of Citizens Energy Company, Gray Hill Hose Company, is.
Yeah, but this seems to me, the reason why I'm asking is because it seems to be a requirement, not a volunteer thing. Hey, I still want to be involved, I want to do this stuff. It seems like we're making this as a requirement,
That's just if they want the tax
That's
abatement,
if
because
they want
even if
tax
you're
abatement.
active
Right, I
firefighter,
understand
you're not
that,
gonna
because,
get the abatement if you're not.
If I may
participating.
remember, the tax abatement is for volunteer firefighters.
So it was put in there because,
Okay.
all right, obviously.
It's a
after,
state statute.
To stay on the state statute, it had to be in there.
Thank you.
You could interrupt me.
I appreciate it. There's a lot of work that went on. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'd make a motion to accept the tax
Oh,
abatement.
hold on a minute.
Oh, I'm
Mr. Lombardi
sorry,
has a
my back
question.
is to you, I apologize.
Not a problem. Just one quick question. So the 15 members is a combination of both firehouses?
That's correct.
Very good, thank you.
That's correct, yes.
Does anyone else have any questions before any motions are made? No further questions?
I'll make a motion to accept the tax abatement as presented by the Seymour Fire Department.
Second.
As presented? Right?
As presented. Motion by Trish, second by Bob.
Cool.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Noes?
Abstain.
Abstains? Please note, Ms. Selectman Lombardi's abstention. Chair votes aye. Motion carries 601.
Thank you for the
Great,
corrections and
and
clarifications.
great job to get to this point.
Awesome.
Thank you.
I just want to thank the men and women of the Board of Selectpersons. I know since July, we've been here pretty much at every meeting, asking questions and asking for something. And you guys have been terrific with us with our transition. And the Board of Chiefs, we can't thank you guys enough. You guys had our backs. When we found we needed equipment, we came, you guys got it for us. I want to thank you very much. The Board of Chiefs are working really hard to keep the department moving forward, and we can't do that without your help. So I just want to thank you from my board to your board.
I think we should be thanking you.
We thank you, yeah.
Thanking you.
without your help. Without you, I don't have the funds to do it, so.
Thanks, guys. All right, December 7th. Number 7, discussion and take possible action regarding small business loan fund applications. If you remember, when we got the ARP money, we decided that as a board, that we're gonna set money aside to do small loans to small businesses, interest-free, to help them out in times of needs, and they had to submit an application to us. In your packet, you will find an application from, get it? Mike Abel. Abdel Said, yep. 177 Roosevelt Drive. This is for a new restaurant that will be going in on the river. It is a sign. He is looking for the amount of $5,000 for the new sign. This restaurant is going at 177 Roosevelt Drive. I believe it's called Route 34, Dock 34 LLC, Route 34 Bar and Grill. It's going to be behind Chavez Bakery.
Oh, with the old, seafood.
The
place.
seafood,
Yeah,
yep. So he's looking for $5,000 to get a sign. Dock 34, yep, that's what it is. Can I have a motion? And then we'll go into discussion.
I'll make a motion to, discuss and take possible action regarding a small business loan fund application from, Mike Abdel Said,
Actually,
Dock 34 LLC.
yes.
Dock 34 LLC. Where is that? Did I miss that?
Yeah.
Motion by Al,
Second, I'll second.
second by Bob Finley. Discussion.
Oh, it's in the commercial loan,
Yeah.
sorry, all right.
Discussion?
So,
We didn't, just refresh me, we didn't, when we set this up with the ARP, we didn't set any dollar amount.
I think we set the $5,000 limit. We set a
was it
five,
$5,000?
yeah, it was a maximum of $5,000.
yeah.
Because we weren't gonna pay for it all, but they had to come and send us the information of how much it was going to cost.
Where's the actual, so,
The estimated project was $15,476. He's asking for a loan of
yeah,
$5,000.
okay, I'm sorry.
Yep.
Thank you. Yes.
Note that is with our materials is dated, signed, but it does not have all the items. Parameters completed. Maturity date.
Yeah. Attorney, Selectman Stanek is correct. I'm looking at this. This is,
That's what I was looking for.
this has to be completed.
He's looking for a loan, but there's no drawing or anything
Well,
like that with it.
There's more than that. The undersigned, there's no address.
Applicant signature's missing?
The principal, no, actually, the applicant's signature may be there. I'm not quite sure.
It's right here.
No, he's got it.
Oh,
He's got it.
Yeah, Mike.
Oh, but it's like it's crossed out.
There's a witness.
Well, that's
too,
the way he
that's
signed
not
it.
Okay,
been-
okay.
I think that's a signature.
It has been witnessed.
The principal amount so it says amount of the loan up top, but then the principal sum of blank, and together with all reasonable collateral
All right, hold on.
securing this note. The note has to be reworked, so I would,
Well,
This is purely
you have
for
a,
the approval process.
so you're going to
this is for
approve,
the approval
how about
process.
a motion to approve the loan subject to
Two.
subject to documentation drawn by by town council.
Yeah, because it looks like there needs.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some.
No, I mean, is this an interest-free program that you
Yep.
set up?
Yes, it was.
So, I mean, for example, we have a default rate of 3% per annum.
Where's the,
I mean,
where's the
this is sort
period?
of
Did
fun.
this.
That's,
But
Yeah, but where's, is that after the period's been?
Yep, after the period, that's when the 3%
That's when the
kicks in.
3% kicks in.
Is that what you want?
Yeah.
Yep,
Okay.
that's what we said they had.
We'll make it different. We'll do it, we'll write it different. It needs to be reworked.
I don't want to pay for that.
I think that our economic development director, Sheila, needs to kind of go through these with anyone submitting them and to make sure, helping them make sure it's complete. And so we are not having to do the back and forth, because that'll be frustrating for
Or the
people
economic
submitting,
development
so.
committee should be reviewing these.
Yeah, that's a good
We
point.
we can turn it around in 2 weeks. I mean, you'll have it for your next meeting. But actually, maybe you don't need it. If you do a motion to approve the $5,000 loan to 34 Dock LLC, subject to appropriate documentation drawn by the town council. If that's the motion, then you don't need to put it back on your agenda. We'll draw an appropriate note that matches this
Yeah,
program.
the only stifling thing is the legal component of this, so I think that would be.
Yes. Okay.
If I may, I suggest that the motion that was made in this one, Mr. Bertula's motion be entered into.
Yep.
Recommended motion.
Do we want to set, I'm just going to throw something out there, before we make another motion and throw this one out. Do we want to set that precedent, though, to do that? Because sometimes, depending on new information or documents received to complete the application, that might change a select person's mind whether to approve or not approve, depending on what's missing. That's all I'm saying.
What's missing is the note.
the note is
I
is
can't
missing
tell you, I
all
mean,
the
if you
information.
don't wanna make
it a note.
Right.
Thank you. That's
Yeah.
what's missing. If you don't want to approve it because the underlying application is for a sign of $5,000 on the site to a business that you can reject that. I think the application that he made is probably complete, having gone through economic development, having gone through Sheila. But the documents that are being used to document the loan are incomplete and can use some rewriting
Bless your heart.
places.
Yeah, I think it needs to be touched up, and then we can tighten that up, and then he can complete it. If he needs assistance completing it, yes, he can ask Sheila, or he needs to get his own counsel or something. But I hear you, Trish, but we gotta tighten it up a little bit. Well, I think we can,
I think we can
think we can
approve the loan.
Right.
So it doesn't hold him up and just correct the legal.
like Rich said, subject to the appropriate documentation drawn up by town council.
But, yeah, so you're going to take your motion back.
I didn't make a motion.
Bob's going to take,
No. he-
Al's going to take your motion
I
back.
withdraw my motion, and I'd like to make a motion to approve the $5,000 note and loan, I should say, for 34 Dock LLC, subject to the appropriate documentation drawn up by town council.
And I'll second that.
Second by Bob.
And I have one comment.
Go ahead,
So-
Susan, go into discussions.
When it comes into the board at this level, we shouldn't be talking about it at the legal, from a legal process standpoint.
Right.
It
I
should
think that's
already be
Rich's
through.
That's my,
Right,
And-
it
yeah.
should go
So-
through Sheila.
How
It should go to
how
economic
that
development,
process works is
Sheila.
wrong.
so we're
Economic
going to take
development.
these documents, we're going to have a conversation with Sheila.
Yep.
We're going to understand the program, and we're going to draw documents that are, that we as lawyers would recognize. These are sort of close, but we're going to give you complete documents, and we're going to document what your intentions are as to this program. For example, there's a reference in there to collateral. I'm assuming these are unsecured loans, so you're not taking collateral. I mean, we're gonna skinny this up and make it complete and do it in a way that reflects the program that you're utilizing.
But can I ask, how did it get to this level
Right, before
without
the
that?
review.
Well, it didn't come to us.
Didn't go to
We
them.
never reviewed it.
That's why I said
This was
this.
Sheila and the economic
Shouldn't we see the
development.
minutes?
first.
Yeah, we're,
It
we
was-
need to go
it
to
was-
legal
it-
first.
It went, I'm guessing that these are documents that maybe have been used by the Economic Development Office, maybe in another municipality, guessing, perhaps, somewhere along the way. And these are form documents, and they were taken, and.
Should
they
have
were-
never
and they
got
were
in front of
filled
us without
Right.
our legal counsel reviewing it.
Right.
So if I'm hearing correctly, moving forward, any more items of this nature, these loans should be 100% before we discuss them on this board. Is that what you're saying?
That's
So
correct.
then
Anything
maybe-
from a legal perspective that's gonna
Right.
hit
Yeah.
this
Okay, so
document, because
then-
we're not gonna look at it from that
Correct.
point.
No.
No,
Right, I hear you loud and clear,
Right.
brother.
no, if, you know,
I mean, Fred and Al
Yeah.
may see it from that point. We're gonna miss it. So,
Right, good point.
I mean, I'm sure there were three of us who looked at this and said, you know, there's some blanks here.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
I think Bob makes a good point. Let's clean it up and moving forward. You know,
Right.
What happened. Let's clean it
Yeah,
up moving forward.
it's not a huge deal, we'll
Yeah.
fix it, and we'll give her form documents, and she could use them.
Right.
Okay, and then we could look at them too before, all I want to do is see them before they get to the agenda.
Right, so going
Doesn't
forward,
take-
we'll have correct documents.
And really, it should go from, to Sheila, to the attorneys,
Correct.
to us.
Correct.
Correct.
And as this is the first
Just,
one.
just like
kind of
your tax
Right,
agreements,
learning
right?
curve.
Your
Right.
incentive agreements,
Exactly.
they come
Right.
from Rory, traditionally, or at least they were before Sheila. They'd come from Rory,
Yep.
and they'd come to us, and we'd go back and forth and try to figure them out, and work them out. And
Sure.
then you, by the time you folks got it, you had pretty much a finished document.
Right.
Maybe you could tweak it here, tweak it there, maybe you didn't want to give it 70%, maybe it qualifies for this, maybe it doesn't. But you pretty much had a finished document, drawn by lawyers.
yeah, and I'm not trying to pick on the EDC, I'm more looking at it from anything with legal review before it gets here.
Here.
It needs to be validated, so I'm approving things that have been validated from a legal
We
perspective.
try to do that.
I feel like I'm at work.
I am at
Trying to
work.
get a campus of 10,000 people to follow legal process.
Okay.
Yeah.
I say we try. Didn't we say try? Try was the
Try.
operative word.
Try and then we kick it back nicely until it's done right. But I think the point is well made. I don't know if I can't speak for Fred or anybody else, but I think this commercial term note, it's a decent template, but it just may not fit our needs for our community. And I don't want to, Rich can chime in. I think that's what he's talking about. We tailor it to fit Seymour's needs with this loan program.
But I'm assuming,
Right?
but from a
I know,
board
when you
member,
look
I'm
at it,
assuming
you're
looking
assuming
saying
it's been
that was
blessed.
ours.
Right. It's,
No, we did not.
it's good catch.
I just want to state that I find that people will just turn to the internet to find a legal
That's true
document.
too.
You know, I'm sure government officials do that as well, but people, for example, will go to the internet to draft a will, and then the will comes to one of us lawyers 20 years later, and it's a disaster.
It doesn't follow
Because
Connecticut
it hasn't-
statute.
It doesn't have all the, right.
Drafted properly. So it's
Witnesses,
important,
notary,
it's
whatever.
important in this type of situation that town council.
Okay,
Absolutely right.
all right. So we have a first, second.
Now we have to take a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Abstains? Noes? Chair votes aye. Motion carries 7-0. Thank you. Want to make sure. Oh, boy. Number 8, discussion take possible action regarding the fiscal year 2022 State Homeland Security Grant Program Region 2 Memorandum Agreement. This is an agreement that we do every year that comes in front of us. It's a certification that lets Leanna certify any documents that have to be sent into or delivered to the State Homeland Security, Department of Homeland Security. I need a motion.
Make a motion to accept the resolution of the Board of Selectpersons of the Town of Seymour.
Motion by Trish, second by Bob. Discussion.
Was it a resolution or a memorandum of agreement?
It's a resolution.
Okay.
Yep. So my question would be, this is something we've used in the past, right, Emery?
Every year.
It's blessed and
It's already been
reviewed by
blessed.
This is the one.
Our
Yes.
town council.
Yes, every year. State.
Assuming this is a state grant form from the Department of Homeland Security.
It looks fine to me, but making sure.
Yep, every year. Same one.
Okay.
Since 2020.
I have no other questions.
All in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye, motion carries 7-0. Thank you. Discussion take possible action regarding the LoCIP Local Capital Improvement Program approval of the guardrail installation on West Street. So, there was how did I say that? Rollover, thank you. Rollover on West Church Street where a distracted driver, and she took out the guardrail, which is a wooden guardrail. And in order for this not to happen again, they decided to put in a metal guardrail. So we have the money to do it by using LoCIP funds for the cost of $19,056.25 for West Street. As you'll see that there's a quote from Atlas Companies. Go ahead, Rory.
I can just add something. We get LoCIP money every year from the state of Connecticut. We have a set period of time to use it. And so we met after a staff meeting recently with the town engineer and Frank Gabinelli at Public Works and said, what are some project ideas that you guys have? And because of this incident, they are now going through town identifying other places that have wooden guardrail because it doesn't meet current safety guidelines. So you'll be getting more of these. So I'll let you know that. And additionally, one of the other things is that the town has not historically maintained or caused to be maintained a lot of the detention ponds throughout town. And as a result, there's a concern that it could potentially exacerbate flooding issues during large rainstorms. So you will also, the town planner is currently researching, who owns the detention ponds and where they are, et cetera, et cetera. If Public Works can address them themselves, they will do so. If they cannot, they're going to go out and solicit quotes to get those to a level where they can be maintained by town staff. So you will also be likely seeing some of those coming your way.
Just if I could comment, just in addition to that, we're not only looking, Public Works is not only looking at where we have wooden guardrail, but we're also looking in the areas of town where we do have metal guardrail. One that sticks off the top of my head close to my home would be Lower Bungay Road. Also, we have brand new guardrail going in on Holbrook Road, and in the event of any kind of an accident, and we know what kind of vehicles are traveling over that road, obviously, repairs would have to be made. So just to add on to what you're saying, Rory.
Thank you, Rory.
Can you make a motion to approve the $19,056.25 for the proposed guardrail installation on West Street?
Motion by Trish,
Second.
second by Al Bruno. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye, motion carries
We need to
7-0.
vote that Daniel Boone approved this.
Daniel Boone?
He's the guardrail manager.
Daniel Boone.
Seriously,
It said
Daniel
that,
Boone.
yeah, I saw that.
so I'll let you know. Just come skin cap on.
For this-
All set.
Item number 10. discussion and take possible action regarding the PCA Water Pollution Control Authority truck agreement. So this is not the right agreement apparently you have in your packet. Thank you.
It is not.
Nope.
No, if we can,
I don't know where that came from.
that is in
Drawing paper.
red line draft.
Give me my crayons.
A red line draft version between our office and Attorney Proto, who represents the WPCA. This was the final version that we drafted, that folks came to terms with, and then there was a WPCA meeting. And at that WPCA meeting, they proposed a change, and it is not written in this document. It is something that we bring to you tonight for discussion purposes, so you can give us a consensus as to whether
So it's not.
it's not in here, so you won't be voting on this tonight.
Okay.
This document was ready to go, but for a discussion that was held at the WPCA, where the WPCA would like, at the end of the term, when the truck has been fully paid by the WPCA, if the town goes out, remember, it's a town asset, even though they're paying for it, title's in the name of the town, it's insured by the town.
Because the town owns the WPCA, that's
Town
why.
owns everything. Title is not in the name of the WPCA. So it's a town asset, paid for by the WPCA.
So are we talking about where return of vehicle is?
Well, we're talking about at the end of this, yes, and we're gonna have to make some changes to the agreement. If the town decides to sell the vehicle at that point, where does the money go?
So can,
They want the money at that point to go to the WPCA on the theory that they paid for it.
can we vote on this and then go into discussion? Because we can't really discuss this without,
You can't vote on it. You can make a motion.
can we make a motion,
You can make
To-
a motion to approve the.
approve the vehicle license
Agreement. Yeah.
agreement?
Yes,
So we can have discussion?
yes.
Oh, just for the purpose of discussion?
Yes.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Trish,
Second.
second by Pat Lombardi. Discussion. So the WPCA is owned by the town.
Yeah.
Correct? Any monies they collect are owned, they own under the Clean Water Act. As we learned in with our former selectmen, we cannot spend that money, the town cannot touch that money, the town can't even look at that money. However, the town cannot, the WPCA cannot go out for any loans, any bonding, because they are part of the town. The town physically has to go out for them, because they are quasi-modo, you know what I mean? So in order for them to buy a truck, we have to buy it for them. They could pay us back, and then the truck is theirs.
But
Here's what the
title's in ours.
fear becomes. So this, I'm part of that committee. And the fear becomes that everything changes. New group comes in. That's an asset on the town. And maybe they feel that that asset can be sold and be put back into the town coffers versus where it's needed at the WPCA. So that's the,
I understand.
so,
So
I
if-
agree with you, Bob.
If you're good with that, we'll write that clause into the agreement. That's what the WPCA is seeking. That's something this board never talked about. And
Can I?
Go ahead.
It seems like if the WPCA is paying for the vehicle, it only seems fair and logical that if it's sold, that money goes back into the WPCA
Yeah.
coffers. That was my first instinct, because how can the town take that money when the WPCA expended the funds for the vehicle? I have a problem with that.
I have a question.
Hold on.
Okay.
it's an asset issue, right? Because the
Yeah.
asset would still reside from a town perspective.
Because
It would be an
I
asset
understand
of
we're
the
paying
town.
the insurance on it.
Correct.
We're doing all these other things, but per the structure of the WPCA and how our town functions, I don't see how the town can take ownership of that vehicle or the funds if it's sold. Or if it's a lease, if we do a lease buyout or return, I don't see how the town has anything to do with it.
I have a quick question. If the truck loan is paid off, they sell it outright, and there's a value.
Actually, you would sell it outright.
The town sells it outright. Would the WPCA be saying, hey, we just got rid of our old truck, we need a new truck?
They might.
Okay, so if they might come in and say, we need a new truck, regardless of what they got for the old truck, we got to get involved in getting them a new truck because they need it, right? So what are they going to do when they sell the truck? They're going to need a new truck. Can we put a clause in that says, you can have the money back, but you're going to have to use it for the need of a new truck?
Well, it wouldn't matter, so.
We didn't pay for it to begin with.
I understand that, but if there's an argument between where the value of that truck goes, back to the town or back to WPCA, then what's going to happen if they sell the truck? Do they need another truck?
Well, they have to pay for one.
Well.
They get
well,
that
wait,
money from the sale of the truck goes back to
Let
them.
me
Okay,
add
but
this.
can we say that?
Well, let me add this. So you don't want to point to where that money would go because they may pay for a truck as a service versus owning a truck at that point. Maybe they make a different decision. They say they found a service company that provides jet trucks and they're going to use that as a service. So they may not buy the truck, but they'll use that money to provide the service. They always need that as a.
Between
they
the
need that as a
town and
service.
WPCA with this money, right? It's the relationship that we're talking about right now. So what do we do?
Well, I don't know if it's a relationship as much, and it's just asset transfer. You're looking at, it's more of the WPCA is paying for that truck. It's going through the town, it becomes a town asset. This whole board changes, budgets go south, and they go, there's $500,000 sitting there, let's sell the asset. WPCA wouldn't have any control of that. So, I mean, I might be exaggerating a little bit, but that's kind of the storyline, right?
You sit
So-
on WPCA, right?
It's a good issue
So
for
did I.
Bold Proto to spot, actually. Your attorney. Go ahead.
Listening to the discussion, it seems to me that the money from the sale of the vehicle, if it's sold later on, should go into a dedicated fund for future vehicles, whether that money is used to buy or to buy down a lease on a vehicle. That's what I think.
I don't agree with
Well,
that. Hold
that
on.
budget might have to go to, what if that plant goes south and you need to do some big
What if we sell-
infrastructure stuff?
Right.
But-
What if-
but-
You
What if we
can't, you
sell
don't
that
want to
plant?
establish that it has to go to that, because you may make the decision to say, we got some structural problems, we got to put some money towards it. and
Or what if
utilize
we
that
sell
money.
it?
What if we sell the plant?
What if we sell it,
That,
which would be wonderful.
that'd be, right, that's a different story, right.
Good point. Well, okay, if I may, that was going to be my comment. If it's sold, if there's some kind of issue while they own the truck, to which the town is now responsible and paying for, say there's a major accident, a major lawsuit. I'm not saying the town's not insured, but I'm a little fearful of committing. Go ahead. I'm sorry. No, go ahead. No, I go ahead. am, because I have am being good examples honest. for you. I am fine with the board making the decision to give the funds back to the WPCA if they paid for the truck, but I think that should be a board decision after, when that time, I don't want to say year over year, because they're not going to get a new truck every year, but when that comes up. I understand your concern, but if people are electing people into the seat, then we have to trust the people in the seat are going to do what's right for the town and the WPCA, collectively. But I am concerned, if it is sold, what does that mean, since we're already committing to give the funds back to the WPCA? If there is a lawsuit of some sort because of an accident, if there's some major catastrophe at the plant and now the town's responsible somehow, I'm really uncomfortable making a commitment in the contract to provide it back, although I'm not opposed to giving it back. I do think that's a decision we make each time it comes up. You can now correct me and go at me all you want.
No,
but
I'm not
that's where
gonna
my
go at-
thoughts go.
No,
I'm not going to go at you. So,
It's called
When I-
dialogue.
when I was on the WPCA, right, and we had a truck where we had a roll of paper towel to put the brakes or to stop the brake, right? Or when the tires were 20 years old on that truck, or when it wasn't going through its DOT inspections that it was supposed to. That was a huge, and it was going on the highway all the way up to the Naugatuck plant. Where was everybody concerned then as to the liability of that driver and that accident happening then? That is a town truck, that WPCA belongs to the town. No matter what happens there, a violation, an OV, a monetary, somebody puts too much ammonia in there, it's all,
Right, but
hold on,
I
hold on.
wouldn't know about that to have an opinion unless I'm told that that's what's going on, right?
It's, no, what happens at that plant, no matter what happens at that plant, it's this town's responsibility.
That's
However,
news to me too, Trish. She's educating me.
all right, and that was all brought up on this board when
mean, I
Kurt
remember
Miller was here.
Right,
Yeah,
but
and it's been on that board
6,
for,
7
I mean,
years
that
ago.
stuff's been going on for years.
Years, right, years.
They are just Viola, being they,
Viola
is
just runs
just an
it.
operator
Right.
for the
So-
town of Seymour.
So no matter what, we own every vehicle in this town, whether it's the police department, whether it's the fire department, public works, the town owns it because no one can go out and do it. So the WPCA has the money in their bank to pay us. They just can't get the
We
loan.
can't do it.
Right? They can't do it because of how it's set up. So we buy the truck, they pay us back. Now when that truck, when they're done paying it back, they own that truck to say, we want to now trade that truck in to get a new truck. Or 5, 6, 7, 10 years down the road, we sell the WPCA because a private entity owns it, right? And it's, hey, no more for the town because we don't have to put $5 million into the WPCA to put a new building in or to put a new wastewater treatment facility in. So we're going to sell it. That truck should be going with the WPCA, not with us.
What's the value of the truck? Are they looking to buy a new truck, or are they just looking to say, hey,
They
we're
need
trying
a new
to
truck.
balance?
They
out-
need a new truck. They need a new truck, which I'm not opposed to.
So why is it, I can't get an answer to saying, you can sell the truck, in a one-time, a singular time, this time only, sell the truck, get whatever you can for, and use that for the purchase of the new truck?
All we really need is a language in here saying that the
It's-
money goes.
Yes, sir.
No, if I may, I just want to make sure he understands what's going on, because he wasn't on the board when
Yeah,
this started.
he's not, right.
So
Yeah.
it's not fair to him to,
Right.
this is a brand-new truck.
That they have right now?
No,
No,
that this
that they wanna
license
get,
is
that they wanna
concerned
get.
about.
Okay.
This is a brand-new truck that the WPCA came to the town and said, we need a vac truck.
Right.
So the town says, okay, we'll go out and we'll get it. You asked what the value is, I mean, this is sort of like buying a pumper truck for the fire department.
I understand.
In that you have, it's probably a little cheaper. It's let's see,
250,000?
Good money.
no, it's,
It's
yeah, it's
up
about
there,
$600,000. It's like buying a good pumper truck.
Okay.
So, so my point is, it's $600,000 vehicle. It's being purchased by the town using town resources, and they're gonna pay us back. The ratepayers are paying back, out of their monies. They're paying back the town. That's how this was
We
conceived.
have reserved for
The
that.
town has already placed
Correct.
this order. This truck is
It's coming.
is coming July 1, on or about July 1, I think, or, right?
No, because supply chain.
Oh, that's, yeah.
Oh.
Right.
Well, I didn't hear that.
Nobody told me that.
Not coming
The
until
supply
Q4.
chain.
Supply
So-
chain.
So,
Okay.
so it's being pushed back some, but that happens with everything these days, it seems. And so this truck, they're not getting rid of this truck. They're not going to sell this truck anytime soon, but when the concept was, when it is paid off, what happens to the truck? The original discussion between the WPCA and the town was, you pay us $1 a year and you can continue to use it. And we were going to write something like that in here for like a 5-year period with a commitment to renegotiate at the end of that. We were going to do something like that. And then Rory went to the meeting and the WPCA board talked about, that's when they said, you know what? At the end of this, what if the truck is sold, so we get a new truck? And if we, or not even,
Well-
it's not even if we get a new truck, what if the truck is sold?
Right.
If the truck is sold, where do the proceeds go at that point? You've got a vehicle that is
It'll
very
have-
valuable.
It'll have work.
And it's going to have some value at the end of it. That's the assumption. So where does that
That's what
money
Bob's
go?
talking about with
That's,
asset. Think of it as an
that's
asset.
all the discussion was, and I think that's what's going on here.
Okay.
I heard Phil talking about like it's an old truck and they're going to
That's
get rid of
what I-
it.
okay,
And
that's
that's why I jumped in, and I apologize, but you weren't here. And I suddenly occurred to me, you didn't know any of
Okay,
this.
so is the WPCA saying, okay, what if a priority changes in the middle of this point and we have to sell the truck to fix this? That's what is that what
No.
not at all?
They're
It's
Not
just
at
where
all,
they're at.
okay.
What happens
If it
when-
was sold from underneath,
Yeah, they don't want
it
to be
was
left
sold
with
from
nothing.
underneath.
Ah, now
Or
I
sold from
understand.
underneath.
Right. That
The
was more
town-
the discussion.
The town decides
Right.
to sell it.
Correct.
Got it.
The other.
So they wanted some
thought was-
protection against
The
that from
money-
happening.
the
So
money
if it
would
does
go to them,
happen, it would come back, the
or-
money would come back.
Yeah, or, there was an or in the discussion, Rory, correct me if I'm wrong, the or was the WPCA has to vote in favor of the sale.
Correct.
As well.
Right.
Okay, they wanted to protect them to make sure that once they paid for the sale, the town didn't say, oh, let's make some more money on this.
I got it.
Leaving them high
So
and
just
dry.
really
Thank you
protection
very
from
much.
us.
That was spot on, thank you. Now I
We
got
just
it.
want to make sure in going forward, everybody has a clear and concise contract as to what is going on, so no questions are asked or no doubt is cast.
So,
I have one more question. I understand better, but because it's a town vehicle, because we're agreeing to give them the funds back at the time of sale,
No.
can't,
well, no, that's what the thought is, I think.
Oh, I understand.
Yeah.
I'm kind of going there. Is there a clause we can put in so that we don't end up in the situation we were, that it has, where we can decide it has to be sold because it's dangerous?
No, we could put in that they have to, no, we can't. We could put in that they have to keep and maintain it, right? That they have to keep and maintain and do the PMs on it. But we can't make them sell it. I mean, that's why we have that's why now at the WPCA, we have PM records put
That's
into
right,
place
on every truck.
on every truck. Before there was.
But is that to ensure we're not in the situation that we were in, that we have trucks driving on the road that are
Yes,
dangerous? Because
that's-
that's my concern.
We actually fixed that
Okay.
a couple years back.
Yeah.
So
But is that
WPCA doesn't
written?
want the
Because
rug pulled
your
out
board
from
can
under.
change too.
That's what they don't
Yeah,
want. They don't want the rug pulled out from
Okay.
under.
And the history is, Phil, it's been a long process, like Anne-Marie said. This has been going on for a while.
This-
and
this-
There was
Many
a lot to
selectmen.
work out.
So how do we protect them? How do we make them happy? And how do we
Well-
keep control?
You can give them two things. Once the truck is fully paid for, if it is sold, they have to, if the town wants to sell it, they have to also agree. That's something they asked for. And that if it's sold, any proceeds go to the WPCA.
That's all we asked
Those are
for.
the two things they
And
were
there-
asking
and it's not-
for at the end.
I don't think that's unreasonable.
I don't think so either.
Rory, is that accurate?
Okay, I got it.
But we do have controls in place now, that we're not going to end up in that situation that we were.
Correct. I know because I was there when they went on.
Okay.
And we fixed that.
It's a different board.
But that board could, my point to Bob, though, was that board can change too, so that's why I
That's
want
why
to make
there's
sure there's
processes put
controls
into
in
place
place.
now. The
Process.
whole,
For
hold on,
everyone.
Mr. Stanek. The old board that was there prior to, from the past chairs, didn't want change, they wanted complete control. And they didn't want the upgrades, and now the boards that we're slowly putting into place, these policies and procedures are already there that cannot get changed, and they can only get better, they can't get worse now. Okay, go ahead, sorry.
But if the truck is sold, would not a new truck have to be purchased or leased?
We don't know.
It may or may not.
You could either buy a new truck, or and then they'd have to go through this process all over again, or they could just purchase the service to have the truck pumped out.
Yeah.
Because
Or-
we rent the vac trucks occasionally, Fred. So
Well, that's what I
they'll-
was about to say,
Yeah.
because I don't think you have one now.
You say we.
Well, we have the old,
WPCA,
we have the
right?
one that does only a certain,
Yeah.
and then we have to, when it's bigger, we have to
You have
get
to,
something
you have
else.
to bring in somebody, and that's what they can do.
Bob, when you say we mean the WPCA.
WPCA, sorry.
So that rental is paid by the user fees? Or the user?
Correct. And we have a reserve that we keep for those reasons, for any big projects, anything that could go wrong in the plant. And we're actually catching up on all the maintenance that hadn't been done for many years right now with that money. So we up the budgets because the budgets were at limited and they were running it on Band-Aid, and we've corrected all that, so.
So let me ask the next question. Why would the town want to sell the truck if WPCA still wants to use it?
Because you never know who's sitting on the truck.
No one can attest what is
I'll
going to
give you a
happen 5 years from
hypothetical.
now.
I keep wanting to go, your Attorney Stanek. I'll give you a hypothetical, Selectman Stanek.
I do the same thing.
Let's say there is a push towards regionalization. And if there's a push for regionalization, and maybe the town leaders at that time decide to regionalize, and they want to do it, and, for whatever reason. And maybe that truck doesn't fit into the plans of maybe it's a duplication however this is being done. So they decide to unload this particular vehicle. Those are the kinds of things that could happen. I'm not suggesting that that's anything anyone's looking at, but years down the road, these trucks have a long life, if properly maintained.
But if we agree to this, then they agree to not have that secondary control to say, yes, we agree to sell the truck?
If you choose, they're asking for two things.
Because I don't want to agree to that then, to the second part, because if we're saying it needs to be sold for that example, and they say, yeah, no, we don't want to, but we're regionalizing, then that's going to interfere with our plans. So
They
I can
will
get
have
on
no
board
choice.
with one, but not the second.
Where the money goes
Not-
was the only question.
It's where the
No,
money-
the other question was they have sign off. They also have secondary, am I wrong?
They're actually
They,
more
they
concerned.
want to have
that
secondary
you're
sign off and agreement to
Yeah.
sell the vehicle if the town says we want to sell the vehicle. So I'm saying that part of it, I don't think I'm on board with if we're saying, yes, the funds will go back to them, but we're going to have that decision to sell if we choose to regionalize, or maybe there's another example, like using that
I wouldn't even
example.
use regionalize, that's a lot of money, and that's far, far down the road, I would believe, if that was ever to happen. The most likely thing that would happen is the WPCA gets sold.
Right, but once it's in a contract, it's hard to take out for the next round, so.
I want to know where you were
In
going.
the end, folks, let me just remind you of one more thing. In the end, the town of Seymour and the Board of Selectmen sort of control the WPCA.
Yeah.
You can control the membership, you can control the makeup, you can control what happens, you have enormous control. That is a subordinate town body.
So you would be comfortable with that secondary clause in there?
The WPCA approval on a sale,
Yeah.
am I comfortable with it? I understand the argument about the money going to that.
Right? I
understand
can
that.
go for that.
Yeah, that's the easy one.
Yep.
The WPCA control is a little something that you're giving up that they've never been given before.
That's the part I'm saying I'm not in favor of.
Yeah, I'm not advocating for it.
But it's
That's why
one,
they ask
it's
for it.
one specific item, this truck, and the asset of this truck
It's
only.
this truck, and I
That's
don't
it.
think you've ever had a situation like this, where the town where they had to buy a brand new piece of equipment, and the town used its existing capital. That's what this is, use its existing capital to buy the truck, and then they're paying you back for stepping in.
Correct.
So basically, all we're given is peace of mind to WPCA on the purchase of this truck.
Yeah.
So what are the three scenarios? And we're all doing what ifs. We're all doing what ifs. So if they buy a truck and the structure of WPCA changes, and that's one of their assets, and they have to dissolve or regionalization or whatever the case may be, at that point, whatever the truck's worth, they want that value. First of all, got to pay off whatever the loan is, right? So they want whatever the value is.
The balance on the license agreement, they have to pay.
Right.
Yes.
Or they pay the ratepayers pay off the loan, the truck is owned by the town, but is controlled by WPCA, and they have to do something, they want to sell an asset, they sell the truck, and we're worried that the money, whatever it's going to be,
They can't sell the truck, the town has to sell the truck.
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
There's no way for the.
But the money, if the town sells the truck underneath them, they want to make sure that the money goes back into WPCA. Like, if this complete board's
I
change.
think we're all on board, I think at this point, we're all on board with that part of
Yep.
it.
Right, okay.
And so 10 years from now, the truck is sold, Board of Select people at that point say, we're not giving money to you, WPCA, what are they going to do? To Board of Select person?
There's a contract that says it goes back to
I
them.
know, but I assume. So maybe we're talking about something that we're
No, my only concern was the second component that they're now asking for, which is to agree with the town if the town decides they want to sell the truck.
That's why it's here, for discussion. It's,
I'm kind of seeing where Trish is going with it. Why give them more than what they've never had before, like you were saying too, Rich? I think if they pay for it though, they should get the money back.
Yes.
Yeah,
I mean,
we
you
all
gotta
agree
make
with
them
that.
whole. So
And we shouldn't sell it out from underneath them.
Right.
come
So I agree with that.
I'll come around to that.
Okay, I'm good.
were you good with what?
I'm not good with the
If I may,
second part,
I'm
but
This was a good discussion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, no.
Yeah, it was a great
I
discussion.
accepted all aspects of the decision.
Yeah.
This was good.
Yeah, so I'm clear on the money. I'm less clear on the WPCA part. Should I put the WPCA part into the contract? Is there a general consensus for that?
No.
No. Okay, then we won't put that in, on the theory that that's something they never had before. We'll just give them the money back.
Yep.
So,
That's what we
after
agreed
it's
to do.
fully paid for.
Yeah, after
Yes.
it's fully paid for, they get the money
Okay.
back.
Yes.
sorry,
I agree with that.
There you go.
that's how I feel.
I-
I don't
I
know if
understand
I'm
it.
only holdout,
No.
but that's how I
I
feel.
understand it.
We all
I understand it.
Just convinced us.
I could make any side of that argument.
So it's the money from the sale, not the money back.
Money from the sale.
From the sale.
Yeah, they can't sell it until it's fully, well, they can't sell it, period.
Right.
Right.
Do you want to
I'll say one more
advocate?
thing,
Yep.
and I'm out. You're giving them control, so you give the WPCA control of running your town's water treatment facility, okay?
Yeah.
You're giving them that control.
Yeah.
Now you're making a statement, they shouldn't have that control to control an asset they need to have. I'm a little, they're not asking for much. I think it's more of a consensus play, so that if you do make the decision to go sell the truck, they at least have to be a part of that discussion. Because what happens now is they're not.
I'll play devil's advocate, not that I have a position in this. I'm
That's
here to
okay, no,
listen.
and
But just to play devil's advocate, there's a truck there now. And if you sell it, tomorrow, the town decides, we're getting rid of that surplus truck, we're selling it, where's that money going?
right,
And they can't stop us.
right.
And so my point is, there's nothing they can do on that part of it.
And I don't think they want to be in that situation again.
Well,
I'm all for giving the funds back, though. I'm not sure where your concern is.
Wait, I can.
I understand.
So Bob's-
You see what I'm
Bob's
saying?
concern
I'm
is
just-
this.
I'm speaking from
I
that
understand both
board,
sides.
right?
I get it.
Right,
So Bob's concern is this: if we trust them enough to run our water pollution control, right? Why don't we trust them enough to make a decision to sell an asset?
Well, we haven't always trusted
Be a
them.
part of the decision.
I am all for collaboration. I understand that I might not be here when that happens. I get that. I get that. I would, if I am here, I would say bring them in. Let's have the discussion. If I'm not here, I can't control that. Other people put them here. But I'm not at a point, that makeup can change. So whether I trust the PCA, we haven't always trusted WPCA.
No.
They haven't
That's what I
always
wanted
done
to
the
say.
right thing.
And that's what I want to say.
And who's there now?
But that's a problem on us for who we commission into that board.
This is
That's a
true,
whole
but
different
that
problem.
can
was a
change
problem.
too. But that can change too, and that's
It was
my
actually
point.
a nightmare.
It's terrific with you there, and as a person, I
understand.
trust you and the feedback you give. But that makeup can change too, and I already know we have not always trusted them. So to give them that decision, if there's something we decide to do, where they can come back and say, yeah, no, I don't want that.
I think we beat this horse.
Yeah, how do we meet somewhere in the
I think I have
middle?
an idea what I'm doing.
Is there a consensus where they can at least be a part of the discussion?
Yeah.
We could
I
put
there a
that
way
in.
to put
A
that? Is
discussion,
there-
a
Yeah.
confer clause. Yeah, we'll put
That's
that
all.
in. That's it.
But not a
Do that.
control clause. I'm
I'd
fine
be
with
fine,
that.
It's always good
I
to
could try and
confer.
sell that.
I like that.
I am comfortable with that.
Right.
I don't have an issue
Confer
with
with my client.
I like that language.
For a reasonable fee.
that. But it has,
Can I get to
it
drive
can't
the
be
truck?
written in
That's
a
what
way
I'm
that
putting
they
down.
can turn around and say that this means that we have decision power in the town. At the end of the day, after
It's yours.
conferring,
Yeah,
it's
your
still
decision.
the decision of the board.
Yes, that's how I'm writing.
And not theirs.
That's how I'm writing.
Okay. But I'm fine with that.
Okay, sounds good.
Good.
Thanks.
Good,
Jack.
thank you.
We're good.
Thank you for your
Bill.
guidance.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Thank you. No, you
We
said-
worked that
It was a
out.
great discussion.
That was an
Good
excellent
stuff,
discussion.
good stuff.
Nope, I don't think I've ever
I've
made
never
Bob
spent more
lean back
time
in his
talking
chair.
about a back truck.
I have.
I made Bob fell out of his chair once. Stuff I
No,
said.
I always think I'm looking through his.
Fell right out.
Ready? Number 11, discussion.
No, we're not voting.
No,
We're
we're
not
not
voting tonight. That was just a
That's a
discussion.
discussion.
Oh, you're going to withdraw your motion. There was a motion that went on the floor to approve it. That's
Not
what
by
she's
me.
saying.
So, Mr. Bruno, we're gonna amend again.
So withdraw the motion and withdraw the second.
It was me,
Yeah.
that's right, just for
It was a
discussion.
motion for discussion
I'm going
purposes
to
only.
withdraw my motion, and I'll put a motion out on the
It was so
floor.
long ago, I forgot.
You kept talking, Rich.
That's what we.
And I'll put a motion on the floor to, with council's help, what is my motion?
No, you don't need a motion.
Oh, I don't need a motion.
Just withdraw.
All right, I withdraw my motion.
Next,
Withdraw the
2 weeks from
agreement.
now,
There you go.
Thank
So you're
you.
just gonna rewrite it up
I'm
from
gonna
the
add-
discussion,
I'm gonna
then
add a
we're gonna come
clause.
back
Gonna
to
go
it,
back to
right?
Ben
That's
Proto
right.
and talk to
I
Ben.
Many
talked
thanks.
to Ben, I
Gotta
want
talk
their
to Ben.
counsel to know what we're doing.
That's
Okay.
right. Gotta talk to Ben.
But
You're
won't
gonna
sell
put in,
that.
you're gonna put in that we will confirm,
We're gonna meet and confer.
That's right, Pat.
easy for you to say. Yeah.
Item number 11, discussion and take possible action regarding the tax or capital service agreement. In your packet is a copy of the first extension of the agreement for professional services, the tax serve capital services. This is the data that Dana uses for her tax collection. And it's just an agreement because the agreement is coming up, and it's just to extend it until January 23, 2024. We're extending it 1 year.
Is there any changes?
There
No.
are no changes.
There are no changes?
No changes,
Okay.
and my understanding is there's an extension clause in the agreement.
This is the first extension.
So I'd make a motion to authorize the first selectwoman, to enter into an agreement with professional services for the first extension of services between professional services and the town of Seymour.
Motion by Pat Lombardi,
Second.
second by Al Bruno. Discussion?
Do we need to add in the tax or capital services LLC to the motion? Pat, I think you said it.
I'm sorry.
I think
Professional
Oh, I'm sorry, I
services.
thought he just said agreement
No,
for
you said it.
professional services between, and
Town of Seymour
the
and the
town of
tax
Seymour.
or capital.
Okay.
And tax.
My apologies.
serve.
Any other discussion?
Nope.
No further discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Noes, abstains, motion, chair votes aye, motion carries 7-0. Thank you. I lost my, there it is. Okay, Selectwoman's report. I even wrote down. So you can have it. Okay. Just a reminder, April 20th, 2023 is the annual town meeting at 7 PM at the Seymour Middle School. This is the special town meeting, and the Board of Select members are to be there. It is our special meeting. The board chairs and department heads are to be there too, to answer any questions regarding department budgets per the town charter. This is where, the annual town meeting is where the people of the town say too high, too low, send it to referendum. So as long as we have a 50 member quorum. Okay. I will be sending out a code red tomorrow afternoon to all residents, reminding them of the town meeting. This past Saturday was the grand opening of Fadeaway Barbershop. Fadeaway Barbershop was the old Rogel building that caught on fire almost a year ago. They have moved to the new location at 172 North Street. We wish Brian and his staff many years of success in their new location. New restaurant that is opening on Route 34 behind Chavez Bakery, Route 34 LLC. They're looking to do their opening around mid-May. The Planning and Zoning Commission approved the text change for the Villa Bianca property with a P to be added. The P added means a special permit will be needed for the application, and it will need to be filed and approved for any changes to the site when the property is sold. I don't normally comment on the planning and zoning, but I think in order to move our town forward, we need to bring in changes, and this follows through with our planning and conservation on 34 that we have in place. So they haven't actually bought the property from the Villa Bianca yet. So when they do, and then they start to do any changes or start to file their applications, it will be with a permit, and then we'll be looking at what is going on with that. Planning and zoning will. So I'm sure there'll be lots of meetings with that going forward. As we know, we moved the Board of Ed out of 98 Bank Street and into the high school. Thank you, Mr. Chairman Stanek, for all your hard work on that. We are looking at selling that building, and we will discuss this more in our May meeting. I just want to put that on everybody's radar for May. I threw out the first pitch for George A. Hummel Little League, both softball and baseball. There will be a grand opening this Friday at Glen Rose Spirit Shop at 159 Main Street at 11 o'clock. Updates on the road in town. Holbrook Road will be opening at the end of June, beginning of July. This is ahead of schedule, as it was planned to be opening in the fall. You will notice on Route 67 is starting to get marked up from Stop and Shop all the way up to Claridge's Plaza. This is part of the wide Route 67 road widening project. We're looking to start that late spring, early summer, I believe. We'll keep everyone up to date on that project. Clinton Road, Maple Street, their 313 area, you know, the area that there's always having accidents on.
The Bermuda Triangle.
The Bermuda Triangle, the Seymour Triangle.
Excuse me, my neighborhood.
Well, the Seymour Triangle.
Where they currently have
Yeah.
right down there.
Really?
Really? The current, great. The chief of police, our fire chief, director of public works, our state rep, and myself all met with the Connecticut DOT last fall in this area. The DOT did state that this was an area of concern. The candlefoot lighting was below the state requirements. The state DOT did have a tree company come in before winter, and they trimmed all the trees. Frontier just dropped the poles. Frontier owns all the poles that all the lightings are on in town. They just dropped the poles into place. They're in the ground now. Now all we're doing is waiting for the electric company to come in and start running the wires and putting the lights up. So that area will be lit to the proper requirements of the DOT. Will that stop the accidents? I don't know, but that's what the DOT said. Is one of the big problems is the lighting when you're taking that turn. I mean, people
It is
take
dark.
it is dark, and people take that turn, and I can have a police officer sit there all day, but where's he gonna sit? On Silverman, on Haddad? You know, where's he gonna sit at 313, and then the car runs into him. So it will be getting better lighting. On another point, the Clinton Road did become, we put it in for an application to become a connector road. Connector road just means it's a major thoroughway to connect you from one side of town to the other side of town, or from one way to another thoroughway. So Clinton Road, if you're following Maple Street, it goes down, and you can go this way up Rimmon Road to Woodbridge, or you go straight to Ansonia.
Yep.
So the one into Ansonia, we went in and got LoSiP to make it a connector road. So now we can change the design of that road. It's very wide, so we can shrink it down. We can change the curves of it. So our B&B engineering, our town engineer, went and got it approved. So now we can change that a bit. So hopefully that will help out as well. But that probably won't be until 2025.
2020 what?
2025.
If I could just go back 1 minute on the Bermuda Triangle, as I call it.
Seymour Triangle, yep.
Yep. Was there any discussion on signage at all, or is it just lighting?
The DOT has put up signage, and, you know, they put in the lighted light, not lighted, but reflective lights, reflective signs, and people just don't pay attention when they take them down. I don't know how many guardrails or how many signs. I think we're on our third sign replacement. So even the notification of the change of the curve, people are just going too fast. You know, and it's a state road, so the town can't just put in speed bumps on that state road. So, they're gonna put in more signage, of course, more signage, more lighting, but, you know, people just take that turn too fast. So we're hoping that the LoCIP money will improve that road condition. And then last but not least, Rory has tendered his resignation. Yeah.
No one's accepting.
It's a dark day for Seymour citizens.
Rory's last day is Friday.
You will be missed.
Thank you for everything up to this date, Mr. Rory.
For 10 years, Rory has been the face of our Board of Selectmen meeting. He has been the go-to person in town hall. If you need to know something, you don't know, you go to Rory. Rory knows it all. Your presence will be missed, your knowledge will be missed, but we wish you the best of luck in whatever you're going to do. Do we have appointments? Yes, we do. Yes. Yes.
I want to echo the sentiments, Cory. I think you've done a terrific job. I've known you since you were a little boy and your family. My wife Karen, who sat in this chair once upon a time, taught you. She always talked about you as one of her finest students ever. And she, I know, encouraged you to go to Boston College, and she wanted you to become a teacher. You took a different path, but I know she's looking down very proud on you. And thank you for your service to our town.
Are you staying on the strategic planning committee? Please.
Forget it, Roar.
Maybe I should say that.
Boy, they knew. Okay. Appointments.
I'll make a motion to appoint Jamie Yakusowicz to the Recreation Commission for a reappointment of 2 years, expiring on April 18th, 2025.
Second.
Motion by Trish, second by Bob. All in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye, motion carries 6-0.
I'll make a motion to appoint Michael Flynn to the Inland Wetlands Commission as a reappointment for a term of 2 years, also expiring on April 18th, 2025.
Second, a motion by Trish, second by Fred. Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Tax refunds and abatement. Front of you is the tax refund abatement from Christina Janetti in our tax office.
I'll make a motion to accept as presented.
Motion by Trish, second by
Second.
Al. All in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye, motion carries. Correspondence is in your file is Rory's letter. You feel free not to accept this letter of resignation. Because I tried and it just is not going to happen.
Rory, could you sign this letter for me, please? I'd like your autograph.
Item number 16 is public comment. Is there any public comment? Any public comment? No public comment. We'll go to selectmen's comments, and I will start with Selectman Willoughby. Hi.
My heart is broken.
So, would you like to go first?
Please.
A simple and right now obvious question is, how do we fill the gap between Friday and the replacement
and, well, it cannot be replaced, but the,
So glad.
you are,
I am.
okay. What do you got?
Ready?
Yes.
So we put in, we put online, we posted online for Rory Staff, when he put in his letter of resignation. We posted on CCM, we posted on Indeed, and I think one other, place that was posted. We are receiving applications. I did put a panel together, and Mr. Willamy, you're on that panel, along with Al Bruno and, Bob Finley, along with Chris Pelosi and Tony Caserta, to interview the applicants.
I vaguely remember asking, but thank you very much. All right, cool.
You didn't ask, I just said you're on it.
I got it. I'm in. Cool.
Got it?
Yep. Yes, ma'am.
Sorry, Beth.
No, it's okay. I got it. I'm good.
Okay.
That's all I got.
I would like to ask that we take a moment of silence in memory of Coach Dan Heffernan, who passed recently. He was an icon in our school athletics for years. Thank you. Also, First Selectwoman and I talked about the creation of a Bungay School Facility Needs Study Committee, and I was going to add it to the agenda, getting late. Let's add that to the agenda next month, or next time.
Okay, what are we gonna call it?
Bungay School Facility Needs Study Committee. I know that's a mouthful.
Not as much as that committee you're looking on the school.
Facility Needs Study Committee. So I think the Board of Selectpersons needs to consider formation committee, and then there should be a next committee that this board decides to form the committee.
Let's do it on our May. Okay.
That's it.
Okay.
Yeah, I just wanted to echo people's comments. I want to thank Rory for his service to the town. This is a person who's made Seymour a better place through his hard work, his dedication, and his patience. I remember, just a quick story, overhearing, coming in to visit Kurt once, and Rory was on the phone with a resident of Seymour, and that resident was screaming in the phone about something. And I'll never forget how Rory remained calm, didn't escalate the situation, got the person to calm down quite a bit by just being a listener and just the way he responded with professionalism. And I'll never forget that. That was something to see. And so it's been a pleasure to watch Rory grow as a person and as a leader. And Rory, good luck. Good luck to you.
Rory is a very good calmer person.
Just a touch.
Rory, you will be missed. I'm going to miss seeing you, working with you. You're incredibly smart. I know you're going to be terrific at whatever you do at any point going forward. And I wish you nothing but the best. Thank you for everything you've done thus far.
Yeah, so I wanted to first approve I wanted to applaud the planning and zoning to get the approval on 34 and get that through, get the first step done. So I think that was a big deal. And I definitely wanted to go on record, Rory, big asset to this town. You're going to be a major loss to us. We wish you the best in everything you do, and I know anything you take on moving forward, you're going to do really well at. So, good luck.
Well, just a little story that I'd like to share with you about Rory. I first met Rory about 10 years ago, coming out of Selectman Miller's office, and as I was speaking to him, and he was new, and I was asking him, how's everything going, or getting acquainted with people, and so on and so forth. He proceeded to open up the overhead cabinet at his desk, and he pulled out a loaf of bread and a jar of peanut butter and a knife and started to make a sandwich as he was conversing with me, and I didn't have any problem with that. And short story, we had a little gathering last week for him, and I adequately provided him with a farewell gift of peanut butter and a loaf of bread.
You can take to his new
Would Rory, just on a personal note, because I've worked with you over the last 10 years on numerous items, I sincerely appreciate your contributions to the town of Seymour, your dedication, your patience, and your understanding, and I wish you the very best. Thank you.
Where the only thing I ask is do not put your bread upside down. Or standing up. I don't know how many times I have to walk into his office, except it's a superstition, an Italian superstition.
What, the bread's upside down?
Bread's upside down or it's not upside down. I wish you so much luck, and I'm happy for you, but I'm also sad for us. But I know whatever you do, wherever you go, you will excel in it. And I wish you both nothing but much luck and much happiness in your future. And with that, can I have a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Motion by Trish, second by Phil. All in